Now we are discussing about economics. In that economics, now we are discussing about the new topic, that is marginal rate of substitution. What is the marginal rate of substitution? In economics, the marginal rate of substitution is the amount of good that a consumer is willing to consume compared to another good, as long as the new good is equally satisfying. MRS is used in difference theory to analyze consumer behavior. Next point is, what is marginal rate of substitution with example. The marginal rate of substitution is the amount of one good that a consumer is willing to sacrifice in exchange for some amount of another good. For example, if a consumer is willing to give up 6 bananas in exchange for 3 apples, the MRS is equivalent to minus 6 by 3 is equivalent to minus 3. Next point is, how do you calculate marginal substitution? Marginal rate of substitution formula, the marginal rate of substitution of good X for good Y, that is MRX XY, is equivalent to the indifference of Y by indifference of X, which is just the slope of the indifference curve. And what is MRS and MRT? The difference between MRT and the MRS, while the marginal rate of transformation is similar to the marginal rate of substitution, these two concepts are not the same. The marginal rate of substitution focuses on demand, while MRT, that is marginal rate of transformation, focuses on supply. MRS is focusing on demand, and the MRT is focusing on supply. That is the difference. And next point is, what is meant by MRTS. The marginal rate of technical substitution is an economic theory that illustrates the rate at which one favor must decrease so that the same level of productivity can be maintained when another factor is increased. How do you calculate? Next point is, how do you calculate marginal rate of substitution and answer. The marginal rate of substitution is called using the formula. X and Y represent two different goods. That is, d of y by d of x is equal to derivative of y with respect to x. Mu is equivalent to marginal utility of two goods, that is good x, good y and good x. And next point is, what is marginal rate calculated? A company's marginal cost is how much extra it costs to produce additional units of goods and services. You can calculate it by dividing change in costs by change in equality, by change in quantity. Next point is, how is MRT calculated? The MRT is calculated by summing the total time in the body by dividing the number of molecules, which is in turns of out to be 85.6 minutes. Thus MRT represents the average time a molecule stays in the body. This is the information regarding marginal rate of substitution. So finally, the marginal rate of substitution focuses on demand. So the marginal rate of transformation focuses on supply. This is the information. Wishing you all the best.